today I'd like to share some common modern misconceptions that I used to have, and many of you, hopefully, may still have, but not after I finish this. The Declaration of Independence, the document was actually approved on July 4th. The vote for independence, when we actually became independent, occurred 2 days previously on July 2nd. So we've been celebrating the wrong date all these years. Napoleon actually was not short. He was 5'7". That's actually slightly above average for a French man of his time. The difference came from the difference in definitions between the English and the French inch, which led to the creation of the metric system. That's not actually true, that's not where the metric system came from, but it did solve that problem. Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation freed all the slaves in the red states, the dark states for you guys. Those are actually the states in which Lincoln had absolutely no control at the point he did that. The slaves in the blue states remained enslaved until after the war. And then, in fact, slavery wasn't outlawed until 2 years later, after Lincoln had died. Entrapment, it is completely legal for a police officer to pretend to be somebody else or to offer to do something illegal with you. Completely legal. It's only entrapment if they gave you the idea and they persuaded you to do it and you wouldn't have done it anyways. You may have been told that cooking with alcohol or wine will boil away all the alcohol. That's not true. After cooking for an hour, 25% of the alcohol will remain, and after 2 hours, 10% will remain, which is all the more reason, of course, to cook with alcohol. Sushi does not mean raw fish with rice. The word sushi actually is a combination of sherry, which is the rice, and neta, which is another ingredient, often seafood, combined together. Sashimi is a Japanese word for raw fish or raw vegetables, but there's absolutely no word for raw fish with rice. That's just made up. Putting metal in the microwave will not damage your microwave. That's a complete myth. It won't hurt anything. In fact, a lot of modern frozen foods include metal as a heating element, a little pizza or something. So you can put your fork in there, it'll create sparks. I think that's awesome, but it won't hurt your microwave. The use of the word Xmas instead of Christmas is not an evil myth by the liberals to get rid of Christ. It's actually from the Greek letter X or Ka, if I'm saying that right, which is the first letter in the Greek word for Christ, Christos. And Xmas was first invented by monks trying to write faster. Lemmings don't actually jump off cliffs into water and drown. They don't commit suicide. This conception was really popularized by a 1958 Disney documentary in which they literally built a lemming launcher and threw them off the cliff for the documentary, but they don't actually work that way. Bats all have eyes and they can all see to varying degrees. Bats often use their eyesight when they're flying distances longer than their echolocation will work. In fact, some variants of bats, like fruit bats, only use their eyesight and they don't use echolocation at all. Baby birds, you can pick up a baby bird and their mothers will not abandon them. Birds actually have a pretty bad sense of smell, so it doesn't factor into that at all. I think our mothers just made this up, to keep us out of trees. Which didn't work. It didn't work for me. I actually caught a squirrel, but that's another story. Tomatoes. Probably most of you know that tomatoes are actually a fruit, not a vegetable, as are squash, cucumbers, and eggplants. But in 1893, the U.S. Supreme Court actually declared the tomato to be a vegetable to protect tax tariffs. It is also the official state vegetable of New Jersey. These guys are clueless. You can actually eat before you go swimming up to an hour. It's shown it doesn't give you cramps, it doesn't make you drown, eat all you want. Again, I think this is another myth made by our parents because they wanted a longer lunch break at the beach. There was a study that showed that alcohol consumption is correlated with drowning, so be careful. Taste buds. Unlike this chart here, you can actually taste any taste on any part of your tongue. So you can taste bitter, sweet, salty, and sour at any point of your tongue, as well as a fifth flavor called umami, which is a savory or meaty flavor. And speaking of senses, we actually have a lot more than 5. We have at least 9, maybe up to 20, depending on how you define them. Other senses include our body position, our balance, pain, time, and of course, the need to urinate. All those things are senses. So we've got a lot more than 5. Speaking of urination, though, drinking caffeinated beverages will not dehydrate you. You can drink all you want. The amount of the diuretic effect of caffeine is way overbalanced by the amount of water you drink. The effect, however, on alcohol is still being determined. I'm doing a lot of personal research on that later tonight. That stat you heard about men thinking about sex every 7 seconds, that's complete bullshit. Somebody just made that up. Actually, we have sexual thoughts about 19 times a day. That's it. Women think sexual thoughts about 10 times a day. We also think a lot more about food and sleeping than women do. So I don't know what you guys are thinking about, but you do, however, use more than 10% of your brain when you're thinking those thoughts. Only one part of our brain is active at any point in time, and it's normally more than 10%, but all of our brain gets used at one point or another, just more than 10%. So I got almost all of these misconceptions from a list of weak Wikipedia common misconceptions. And you should check out a lot of other great Wikipedia lists, including the list of unsolved mysteries, a list of mad scientists, and the list of... I forgot what the list. You should start, though, by checking out the Wikipedia page list of lists. Thank you.